Trucker Dump for July 3rd, 2010, Episode 45, Riding Along with a Trucker.
Welcome to Trucker Dump, where you'll get one driver's insights and sometimes humorous views of truck driving and the trucking industry, and pretty much anything else he feels like dumping on you. This podcast is brought to you by AboutTruckDriving.com. Resources to help you understand the world of truck driving through the use of stories and a pathetic attempt at humor.
Hey folks, Todd McCann here. I'm a windbag. If you've been listening for any length of time, you already know that. Well, my windbagginess is the cause of today's podcast. You see, I had a reader who made a comment on the Go to Bed Angry blog post. As soon as I started to give a reply, I could tell it was going to be too meaty. In fact, it was so meaty that it got a post of its own. I call this one Riding Along with a Trucker. I like Lucinda. Not only is her name really close to the evil overlord's name, Lorinda, but she was also kind enough to drop by the website, read Go to Bed Angry, and leave a comment. I love getting comments, largely because it means someone other than my mom is reading the blog. So here's what Lucinda wrote. What are your thoughts on a wife joining a husband on the road when the children are grown, more as a companion, not a co-driver? This is what we've been thinking of doing. We have our own authority, so we would be free to schedule loads to places we want to visit and stay as long as we want. Well, Lucinda, that's a good question. My initial thought was, wow, this lady must be really bored. However, after some deliberation, I thought, wow, this lady must be really bored. Seriously, though, I see what you and the hubster are after. The little critters that used to laugh while peeing in your face soon evolved into pesky ankle-biters who eventually matured into know-it-all teens. Before you know it, they've changed into human beings. That's when they move out and the freedom begins, both yours and theirs. Better hurry, they've got 4 years of college before the inevitable move back into the parents' house. Time for some fun. Time for a job that pays you to travel. That's what we're talking about here. I think that the last sentence of your comment is the key. If the hubby was a company driver, I'd have seconds, thirds, and possibly even 15 thoughts about this, primarily because you have little or no choice regarding your destinations. Company drivers know this well. So do owner-operators. A what? Now, Lucinda has been a trucker's wife for a long time, so I'm not telling her anything new here. I'm speaking to my non-trucking readers now. A quick lesson for you. Company drivers are simply hired hands. We do what the company tells us to do. Sometimes we even do it without whining. We drive company-owned trucks. Although there are exceptions, typically company drivers have little choice over what loads they get and where they go. Owner-operators are a step up or down the rung, depending who you ask. They own or lease their own trucks and can set them up any way they want. Although they are their own company, they usually associate themselves with a large carrier. That carrier gives them a bunch of loads to choose from. So in that regard, they've got more choices as to where they go. But Lucinda's husband has his own authority. When a trucker has their own authority, they are in complete control. They own their trucks and they have the authority to book their own loads. They can do this through sources of their own or load brokers. They can go anywhere they choose, whether they're loaded or empty. Of course, if you'd like to see Niagara Falls, it's always best if you can find a load to Buffalo. May as well get paid to go there. I'd like to thank Ray for his help on these different types of owner-operator trucking. He's at Lawson Bulk on Twitter. Now back to Lucinda. The last line of your comment was the most important. If you're truly looking at this as a way of working and vacationing, then having your own authority is the only way to go. I give you my blessing. Not that you needed it. Still, there are some things you should be aware of, especially since it doesn't sound like you spent much extended time in the truck. When I started responding to your comment, my mind immediately went to a couple of my Twitter friends. Miss Patty has been a passenger riding along with her husband for a long time. Her handle on Twitter is @love18wheels, love spelled L-U-V. I asked her advice, and here's what she had to say. Todd, first of all, she best make sure that her and her hubby get along really well in their relationship. Because as you know firsthand, there's a lot of stress on the road and arguments about decisions made while on the truck can get really heated. I rarely get bored as I have my PC, Twitter, Facebook, and navigate directions for hubby. I also use the Qualcomm for him to speed things along, and I like to read. Also, having a pet on the truck can be very entertaining, and they're good stress relievers. Plus you have to take them for walks, which is good for the both of you. When I'm back on the computer, we rarely interact, so when I do come up front, it's like a visit, and then we can talk about what's on our mind. Heck, if she wants alone time, she can pull the curtain and go in the back to read or watch a DVD. There's a lot to see in this beautiful country, so boredom has never been one of my issues. We also have satellite radio, which keeps us up to date on what's going on in the world, and it entertains us as well. Just being in a truck with only the space of a large closet can cause problems in the relationship if you don't get along well in the first place. Well, thank you, Patty. I couldn't have said it better myself. Although watching a DVD in the bunk while we're bouncing down the road would probably make me blow chunks from here to Hawaii. But as I said in Go to Bed Angry, getting along with your potential co-rider is paramount. Being married for several years doesn't necessarily mean you can be stuck in a tiny space with them for weeks on end, especially if you're not used to being around your long-haul trucking spouse. This goes for Lucinda and anyone else thinking about doing this. I also think Pat's advice on finding a hobby is important. Pat's thing may not be your thing, although I expect her having multiple hobbies has kept her from going stir-crazy. Just find something to keep you busy. Another passenger-only Twitter friend, Sabrina, her handle is @CB_snowangel, says that she doesn't have to worry about getting too much of her boyfriend. She says he's so focused on the job that it sometimes feels like she's not even there. So if Mr. Lucinda is a focused kind of guy, maybe finding alone time won't be an issue. Sabrina also backs up Pat on two things. If you need to get away, escape to the bunk area. She, too, thinks that a computer is a great way to while away the miles. So, Lucinda, other than what you've already heard, I'd suggest one more thing. Take it slow at first. Only plan on staying out on the road for a week or two at a time. If things get stressful, you can look forward to getting home and away from that annoying person. However, if you and the hunk of burning stud are having a blast, stay out and have fun. And if you ever get to Niagara Falls, look around and see if you can locate my buns. I'm pretty sure I froze them off there one cold January day.
Hey, yo, bud, where do you want this load of feedback?
Oh boy, did I get some comments on the last podcast. You know, the one called The Split. Here's what people had to say about it. Lindsay wrote, "Punk! We're all thinking how sorry we are for you. Enjoy the time alone. But what is the evil overlord quitting trucking for?" Well, Lindsay, yes, I'm a punk. That name certainly fits. She's going back to school and needed to do a couple of online classes before the fall semester. They would have been impossible to complete with the truck moving all the time. Pam wrote in again and said, "You have officially become the Mr. Evil Overlord for that one. I was so suckered in. Kick yourself and have the missus do the same for me." Well, Pam, I didn't know if you guys would buy that one or not. Had to make it short so you wouldn't have time to think about it. I'm really surprised you all fell for that, especially knowing how snarky I am. Suckers. Heidi wrote in and said, "Ditto, Pam. Your shoulder would be very sore if you were sitting next to me right now. Definitely punked." How to get you back? Well, Heidi, I'll be keeping my eye open for you. FL Trucker's wife says, "Oh, you're a mean one. I was totally suckered." I didn't fool everyone, though. Dab2006 says, "You had me until the first list. It just didn't seem right, although it did bring back memories. My better half rode with me for 2 years." Well, Dabster, congrats. You're the first one who didn't take the bait. Probably has something to do with you being a trucker. We truckers are crafty like that. CB Snow Angel wrote in and said, "Wow, I guess I'm good for a passenger. I don't complain, nag, or hit hard. When I do, it's playful. My boyfriend and I have burping contest. It's so fun, and yeah, we have our little spats, but they don't last too long. It's good to get along with each other really well." Well, CB Snow Angel, glad to hear you two are having a good time out here. First one to belch while saying trucker dump wins. Well, that's all the feedback we've got for this week. I'll be keeping my eye open for you people who are trying to get me back. Thank God I'm not on Foursquare. You want to leave a comment of your own? I'll tell you how in just 1 second. Cue the music. Good I'll have any riders out there who'd like to give Lucinda some advice? Or maybe you're like Lucinda and thinking of riding along in a truck. Have questions of your own? Well, that's what me and my Twitter pals are here for. Shoot me a message. I'm at Todd McCann over there. That's 2 D's, 2 C's, and 2 N's. You can reach me by email at truckerdump@gmail.com. Or if you want to crowdsource your comment for everyone to enjoy, go to abouttruckdriving.com, type riding along into the search bar, and leave a comment. Please leave a review on iTunes when you get a chance, and tell your friends about the podcast if you'd like to torture them too. Thanks for listening. So until next time, drive safe and stay out of my way.